So I'm gonna show the step count. This is the tutorial for the step count. What the fuck am I doing? For the for the NoSlots no long range step count that uses Fury Ring. I'm gonna show all the hostile screens. I'm not gonna do the entire game. Like this is gonna be really fast. Just at first, I'm gonna show Midgar, which it's the same as slots, but for people that don't know, I'll show it. I mean, you menu skip that. If you don't menu skip, then it doesn't matter because you don't it doesn't change the formations. But yeah, you menu skip that, and you get this one. And then you get this one. Then you walk 7.5. For me, I count the steps with the right foot as being the first. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5. I think I walked instead of run, whatever. Go with this. And then here you force encounter after the ladder. Oh my god, I'm losing. I went too fast and I lost a lot of steps. So I'm gonna cheat. But yeah, basically you force encounter here, and then you grab the ladder, or you force encounter here. This is for apps, and then okay. Save. There, up, and then up left, then up right, bonk, confirm, right, left, that keeps the fractions the same. Then do this, blah, 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 blah. 24, StepID 24, fine. Then for apps, it's left, release, R1 right, walk, talk, run, talk. That should be it. After this, we got interesting. I'm super behind, whatever, I'm gonna cheat. You don't walk here, so you got the second encounter here. And then here we're gonna use the double train, basically. I grabbed this potion just because I like to heal Tifa for sample, but it's not necessary. This is the tutorial for the step count, then I'll do another tutorial for the menuing. Double train, and then here I'm gonna cheat because I did that mistake. But if you force, like you can force encounter here. Okay, so you press there and then here, right? You force encounter, and that should be fine. If you are ahead and you get encounter here, for example, save here, enter here, then you need to walk one StepID because we want to avoid this encounter. So it's you run 3 fractions, you walk 3 fractions, and that should be it. If you don't want to do that, then you force encounter here in this line, like above this line. You force encounter, then upright, and that should be it. With that, you don't get encounter here, and you don't need to walk. And you are ahead enough. But if you are worried, if you want to be super ahead, say that you don't get encounter here. If you want to be super ahead because you don't want to worry about losing steps, whatever, then you get the encounter and then you run 3 fractions and then you walk 3 fractions. Well, you tap 3 times walking, and that's all. like it's only one step ID basically. You need to walk one step ID in order to avoid this encounter. That should be it. Then now here there's a trick where, because the next encounter you can skip it. So basically if you force encounter here, which if you are super sure about your movement for the entire Midgar, it's fine. If not, don't do it. Then you're gonna end this part. I think it's like this because you bonk. So you end at step ID 46, which means that here this encounter, the Hell House encounter, which you can skip, is gonna be always in the same step, which is here. It's between the start and here. So this distance. So you know where to open the menu, even though there's still 8 fractions. So it's not guaranteed, but whatever. Here, down left, sorry. To save 2 fractions. Then you get this encounter earlier, like if you skip the Hell House. If not, it doesn't matter, don't worry. Then here, you have to go through this screen. Then you go through this screen. And then this one. This one usually you get encounter after the chest or one step before the chest. If you get it after the chest, you are totally fine. Like, unless you get extremely unlucky with the with the fractions, which it happened to me once, where I got it like 2 steps after the chest, and then I don't know how I lost like 4 or 5 steps because the fractions. I did this in a weird way, but whatever. And yeah, but if you do this first and then the top chest last, then you get encounter after picking the chest, like close to the door, but that's fine. Then here, bam. So the idea is to get the encounter at the end with Ares before the elevator, right? So now going to specimen. This is exactly the same as slots, like exactly the same. And I'm gonna show both strats basically. Or here, left, there. Because there are 2 strats, but I don't know if it affects the. Yeah, I don't think it affects the formations. After the specimen. There you go. And here, this one. If you get it here in the middle of this. This is the last fraction you can, the last spot you can do this step count. If you get it behind, you can't. Like there's no space. There's not enough space to get Genoa preemptive. You can like continue the run, but you won't get Genoa preemptive. That's all. This is the last spot. Usually you will get it here above the yellow line. If you get it above the yellow line, you are totally fine. And if you get it ahead, then you're super fine. super fine. And here, after the prison here. Okay, so I was super fine. So what you do is, there are 2 ways to do this. this. If you get it above the, like in the middle of the stairs, something like that, you're totally fine. So then you just go here, go here, go here, here. You can go down to save like a couple fractions more, and that's all. And then here you, where are you? Here. You force encounter here, just at the beginning, with Aerith, then you don't mess up this movement. So you enter at 234, right? And from here, this is the movement with Cloud. With Cloud, it's I press R1 right and then release R1 right here until it bonks, until he bonks. When he bonks, I release X. He does this little step, and then press X again, and he goes up. Then I'm pressing right all the time, and then right down, running. And you see StepID 0, fraction 160. So I enter at 160, bonk, release, press. Sometimes when you press, it doesn't do it. So if he doesn't do it, you press right up and then right down, and it's the same, right? Like sometimes you have this mistake, right? Where Cloud goes down. When you do this, you press right, you press R1 and right until the hand and this line is at the same height, right? Like here. And then you just have to press right, bonk, and talk, right? So this is the backup. It's R1 right, this is okay, bonk, release, hit, like hold X, and then right down, that's it. Backup, bam, 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 right, bonk, there. Okay, that's the normal. Now, imagine that you are behind, like you got the encounter before the yellow line, like before, after the specimen, you got the encounter before the yellow line, just at the limit, and you're like, fuck, I'm super behind, but I can still do the manip, you know, the general preemptive. So first, you force the encounter here. Okay, so at the beginning, in this scenario, in this screen, you force the encounter. Then it's down right. Without wasting anything, okay? Being careful. There. Okay, and up. There you go. And then right. And after this, with Aerith, the same. Then here, what was, no, sorry. It's right down, there, press left, until, if you want to save as much step fractions as possible, press 1 here, here. So this hand is at the limit with this line, right here. And then I press L1 and left. Then be careful, because you want to enter at 236. And if you enter at 236, check that I only have one fraction left. Then you can still do the like this one where it's right, R1 right, and then release, right, and then you have to talk with Tifa as soon as possible, which is when this hand touches this. So one more. There. It's 224, see. And here we enter at 0, 160. So we press left until this point. the foot needs to surpass this line right here. From here it's R1 left, then left, right, running, and then up. It's 38, 160. Yeah, it has more fractions, so for example, this is not correct, but this would be correct also. Corel is... okay, it's tight. It's really tight. I'm gonna start with fraction, the last fraction. And what you do is, first, this one, you can skip it. If you skip it though, you need to walk, I think. Let me check if this is correct. Then you need to walk. Yeah, because after you get this encounter, you get this. So it's walk a little bit and then it's 1.5 basically. I'm gonna show the normal one. The normal one is you get this one, then up left, up left. That is just to save more fractions. You don't need to get encounter here, but in order to save more fractions, you end up getting it here. Then here, you need to walk one step ID. So that is bam bam. That's enough. It's bam bam. Right, and then you get encounter here. It doesn't matter if it's like before. Like there's no problem with the formations. It doesn't matter where you get encounter. And after this, it's 11. So what I do is I run 2 or 3 fractions and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I messed up, you see, because I did 10.9. Because if you do 11, instantly 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You need 1 or 2 fractions more. So it's better to do 2 or 3 fractions running and then do 11, like full 11 steps. Then you get this one, and that's it. This is the moment of truth, basically, because here, there are 2 ways to do this. If you get the encounter below this line, you see this line, this black line or gray line. If this is below, you will have to walk 1 step ID after, like in the next screen here. If not, you don't need to do it. So for example, I get encounter here. You can do 4.5 or 5. 5. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, perfect. Now, if you want to be more optimal, it's 1, 2, for example, and then 1, 2, 3, 4.5. You know, at the end, it's not a big deal because later you will have to force the encounter, I think. There you go. We're here. So you see in this screen, this line. If you got the encounter here, for example here, where this hand is below this line, then after you walk 4.5 or 5, it doesn't matter, you will get the encounter, you will trigger this. So you have to walk 1 step ID. You need to do pam pam in order to walk 1 step ID. But it's better to force the encounter actually, just above the line, right? So you don't have that problem, so you don't have to worry about walking here. But if you want to be super ahead and you want to be super optimal, then yeah, you get the lasers here. Here down right after that. And there. So this part, there are 2 ways to do this. 2 ways to do this. You can get the encounter here, for example here, I've never got encounter above here, like ahead of this. So I don't know what happens, because it's really... I think it's impossible to get encounter ahead of this. But if you get encounter ahead of this line, you have to walk 1.5. So 1.5. So here, because you can't trigger this. Like this one. So we enter at 148, right? But if you force encounter here, like above this dot, this black dot, right? And then you run three fractions, 1, 2, 3, and then you walk 3 fractions, 1, 2, 3. Only one step ID, right? You walk 1 step ID. Then that's a setup that works fine. If your movement is perfect, here it's up left, and then here it's up. Then up left. And if you do this, okay. After, like here, after MK, you grab this one. Then here, you leave at 254. At 256, there's encounter, right? So what you do is, like this encounter, if you get it here, check this. If you get it here, which I have it here, I wrote this one has to be in Gongaga. If you want the spider web, this one needs to be in Gongaga. If not, you get it at the end, so here, Gongaga, you don't get anything, and then in the temple you get the side attack. And that's fine. But you don't get spider web. If you want the spider web, you need to push this to Gongaga, and this one won't be a side attack, but that's fine. It's not a big deal. So, in order to not get, like to push that encounter, this setup works fine. Just in this dot, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then move perfectly. Doesn't have to be super precise, but yeah. Then up left, then up left. Here, bam bam. Right there. You see, it's always the same, right? And then at the end, after Materia Keeper, pick, and then here you can stop, because you need to do the menu stopping, because if you are behind, if you do this setup, usually like you won't get encounter. Now if you mess up or something, wait, like stop and then open the menu, because you have the chance to skip the encounter while you run, and that makes you to have like double palmer. So yeah, and then you do the menu, then you leave to get this one, to steal the spider web. Then you would do this. Here it's not tight at all. You would buy the Fury, because now you have to force encounters. There you go. You get encounter here. Even if you get it at the beginning, because you are super behind, even though if you get it at the beginning, it means that you got the Sonic speed at the end of Nibelheim, so yeah, no spider web. But yeah, shit, I messed up. Okay, after you get this encounter, just after, like don't try to optimize. After this encounter, walk immediately, because you can't advance 1 step ID. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and something. But you can do 14. Why? Because you need to force an encounter. Anyways. So you grab this. Okay, yeah. Good. You need to force encounter here. Like besides the chest. Like here. Just here. Here we get the this encounter, blah blah. Okay. So if you force encounter in the chest, like beside the chest in the temple, then you get encounter here, basically the same spot, which means that you get encounter here, basically the same spot. If you are ahead somehow, force it here, force it in this screen. The hungry needs to be in this screen because you need to walk 5 steps. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and something else, like 5.2. What I do is I just run a couple steps, a couple fractions, and then walk 5 steps. But yeah, you walk 5.2. You get this one at the end. You have to force it. Actually, you have to. If you are ahead, you have to force it. I think what I did was to pick the power source, so Tifa doesn't under damage against Schizo. So because I need to force encounter anyways. That's it. If you are super behind, don't get the chest. But it's practically impossible to be behind because if you are behind, you have to walk 2 steps. Here, with 1 StepID is fine, but I'm gonna walk 2 steps. StepIDs anyway, so 1, 2 steps. That should be fine for any, unless you are extremely behind, but that's impossible to be. So whatever. So I just walk 2 steps there. That means, and here it's a couple frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do 5.2. I think 5.2 is better. Just a little bit more than 5, to be sure. It's not tight. That's why you have to force an encounter later. So don't worry about it. When I get the, I mean, you can get it here. It doesn't matter where. But yeah, the steel bar. Then 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, to 4 actually. 4 is fine. If you're ahead, 4 is fine. I messed up, but it doesn't matter. Steel bar, then 1. After that, and why it's not tight? Because we need to force the encounter. So we get this one, and then this one is what we force. So we need to force it here at the end. So at the end, force encounter. Now leave. And then you walk. Here. So you enter, you can run a little bit, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and something. 8.2. It's not 8 flat, it's 8.2, 8.3. Not a big deal. Here, what I like to do is it's 5. It says so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so run a couple fractions and then 5.2. That should be it. Here you can get encountered before if you are behind. I mean, here it's the solo counter, but if not, it's 4, which is fine. I mean, it's not fine, but I think it's the same because they will get the same attack anyway. And then we get the Malboro, but we got the ribbon, so it's not a problem. And here, after this, it's 2. So 1, 2. Whatever you want, but here. Here, it's 2.5. So 1, 2.5. You get this encounter, and then, oh my god. You can walk later, 5.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. Because we want the preemptive, not this one. If you get this one, it's fine. You need to walk 19 steps, I think, instead of 16. But we want the preemptive. If it's not a preemptive, you know that you messed up. and you got the previous one. This is the preemptive. If you don't get the preemptive, then you got this one, which means that in order to skip this one, instead of 16, probably you will need to do 19 or 20 steps, which is kind of bad. But now you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You get 1. We are not gonna walk here. We're gonna get 3 in a row. 2. And now here, an easy way to do this. An easy way to do this. You have to walk 16. That's all. Okay? 16 steps. Basically. Now, if you first encounter here, you don't need to count because you just press right. And that's all. We get the encounter here. There you go. So we don't get an encounter in the bridge. Then this is the first one, then another one. Then you can walk, which is a side attack, and then you walk 3, it doesn't matter where. So 1, 2, 3. Then you force the encounter here. So it has to be like here, basically. It's instead of the middle, just to the right of the middle. So here. And then just left and up. And that's StepID 50, fraction 128, so it's in the middle. So yeah. We got the encounter here. That's a machine. Now, in theory, if you get the preemptive, you can't get encounter here. I believe. Like it's always in the next screen. If you get encounter here, it doesn't matter, there's no pincer or anything. Like it's not a problem. But here it's this one and then 1.5. I mean, it's I like to run and then 1.5. Then here, this one, and then here it's 1, 2, 3, and then 19.5, I think. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and a half. Okay. If not, it's 20. I think it's 20 immediately after the encounter, or 19 and a half if you do like the 2 or 3 fractions. There. Okay, so we want to force encounter here. If you get it here, it doesn't matter. I think the limit is around here. If you think the encounter before this part, more or less, then in this 3 you're gonna get 4 encounters instead of 3, I believe. So there, and then 15. Without optimizing, just 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And run. So you end at StepID 240. Now what happens here? Why do we want to do that? Because we want to skip this one. Otherwise you have to walk here, and we don't want to walk here because it's because the final descent manip. So here we're gonna get this one after, or maybe before. Maybe you get it before, you can jump and then do 1.5. Right? No, 1 and 2 fractions. It's 1 and it's 1 basically. 1 step. I think this is the limit, so I'm gonna force it here. Yeah, just here and see what happens. But it's after the second jump basically. Why we want to force it there? Because this part like press down there, like here, press down to reach this point. Interesting, I messed up. Left, right. I wasted a little bit. I messed up there. Okay, that's fine. That's actually fine, I think. If you get it here, if you get it here, you are totally fine. If you get it here, it's really tight. You need to optimize. But you saw that even with that mistake, I got it here, so I'm totally fine. So usually you will always have it here or here. And then you do 5 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all. That should be it. It's only 3 encounters. Let's see, maybe it doesn't work, huh? Oh shit, I messed up. Oh my god, I'm stupid. Okay. I mean, without the mistake, it would have been fine. The actual world record, the step count is 53 plus 3. 137 steps, 5 preemptives, 1 back attack, picks long range. Demonstrate long range, 3 bonfire, 960 seconds. So yeah, basically that. It's 100 seconds faster. So basically 1 minute 40 seconds. Give or take. Faster than the world record. This is Stepcount. Skipping the long range. Of course it has different, like it loses some time in different spots, but yeah, definitely it's faster.